So this is so often the conflict between the missionary and the people from whom the missionary comes, or from whence he comes. That is, the mob that attacks Paul accuses him of speaking against his people, their law, and the land, and the temple. It's specifically the holy place of the temple. And in a sense, that basically what Paul is doing is that the people it would be, in their view, Israel, the law of Torah, and the land of Israel, the promised land of promised to Abraham, given to Abraham's descendants and to no one else. The temple has the only place where one could meet God. And in a sense, Paul loves the people of God so much. He loves his kinsmen according to the flesh, as he says in Romans, so much that he wants all humanity to be joined to them. That's the love that Paul shows to his people. He wants to make everyone a part of the people. And that is so threatening, isn't it? And Paul loves the law of the Lord, but specifically a law of love that is written on the human heart and not on tablets of stone, as he writes in his letters. That the law is something that the Holy Spirit gives to us, and that we are called to live on resurrection ground, that the law that God gives to us is one in which we are raised up in Jesus Messiah, not one where that we have to, in a sense, obey in order to get God to come to us, but rather God has already come to us in Jesus Messiah and now given us a new way to live together in forgiveness and mercy and love in light of God's presence to us. And that presence is not going to be at the temple, but God so loves the God of Israel, revealed in Jesus Christ, that he wants everyone to come into his presence, and teaches that no matter where those little churches were in Corinth or Colossia or Thessalonica or Ephesus or Antioch, Adarantes, wherever those Christian communities were, that was a temple. As he says to the Corinthians, the temple of the Holy Spirit dwells in you, in y'all. It's the you there is a y'all. It's a second person plural. In all of you together, you make up a temple of the Holy Spirit. You're living stones of a new temple that Jesus is building in the world. The land is now something is resurrection ground upon which all peoples are welcomed by God's love. So, in a sense, the missionary, in a sense, is too generous with what he invites others to share in, and that can be the case with us as well. And I pray that as a missionary of Jesus Messiah sent from the church, that you would share, you would love the church so much that you'd share it and want others to be a part of it, just as Paul loved his people and wanted them to be a part of it, that you would be God's agent in bringing someone into the fellowship of the church, and even more importantly, that you love the God revealed in Jesus Christ so much that you want them, your friends, your neighbors, whoever God puts in your life, to be a part of that people and to dwell on that resurrection ground, that holy land in which God makes us into a temple of his presence. A reading from the Acts of the Apostles. When the 7 days of purification were almost completed, the Jews from Asia, who had seen Paul in the temple, stirred up the whole crowd. They seized him, shouting, "Fellow Israelites, help! This is the man who is teaching everyone everywhere against our people, our law, and this place. More than that, he has actually brought Greeks into the temple and has defiled this holy place." For they had previously seen Trophimus the Ephesian with him in the city, and they supposed that Paul had brought him into the temple. Then all the city was aroused, and the people rushed together. They seized Paul and dragged him out of the temple, and immediately the doors were shut. While they were trying to kill him, word came to the tribune of the cohort that all Jerusalem was in an uproar. Immediately he took soldiers and centurions and ran down to them. When they saw the tribune and the soldiers, they stopped beating Paul. When the tribune came, then the tribune came, arrested him, and ordered him to be bound with 2 chains. He inquired who he was and what he had done. Some in the crowd shouted one thing, some another, and as he could not learn the facts because of the uproar, he ordered them to be brought into the barracks. When Paul came to the steps, the violence of the mob was so great that he had to be carried by the soldiers. The crowd that followed him kept shouting, "Away with him!" The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.